Morning, cat. So I've put the Miffy's feeds. She's got a bag for each day. Each bag contains one breakfast and one supper. Here's her breakfast for this morning. This is for the little pony, Miffy. And I just wet it with some hot water from the tap so that it's sort of moist, because she's got some powder in here which I've pre-mixed into all the feeds. And I've pre-mixed Pharaoh's turmeric into her. I've pre-mixed Pharaoh's turmeric into her night feeds. However, I would like you to add 1 sachet of Butte from this bag, and there's a paper bag inside with some more in, to her evening feed in the blue bowl. So that's not the hay care, it's the other one. I suppose it wouldn't really matter, actually, but it needs to be mixed into one of the really big feeds, sprinkled evenly and mixed in well so she can't taste it. I wouldn't put any in her breakfast because she'll probably taste it and she won't eat it. And regarding giving it to her by syringe, forget that idea, because she'll avoid you and it will make life difficult for you. This is Pharaoh's breakfast. I've left varying bags for her. That's one evening feed, blue bucket, Pharaoh's supper, and then you've got these the littler ones for breakfast. They're sort of just a smaller amount of the same thing, and I've put them in the right order you'll be using them. These bigger ones labelled hay care at the back. She has one of those each evening in the big black bucket alongside her one in the blue bucket. Bung around half a kettle in this one. Obviously, I know I don't need to tell you this, but you need to make sure it's not too hot for her to eat before you give it to her. If you want, you could just you could cool it down. The kettle doesn't need to be boiling, it just needs to be hot. And give it a good stir so there's no dry bits at the bottom. So it should be, sort of a soft consistency with all the pellets gone. But yeah, I'm going to have to wait for it to cool down now because I made it too hot. Pharaoh's also got a small purple bowl in her stable with chaff in from last night. She probably hasn't finished it, so I'm going to take some of this to top it up, moisten it a bit, and she's going to have that during the day in her end stable where she's turned out. That should do it. That scoop should do it. If she had eaten it all, you could always give her a couple of scoops. The main thing is to dampen it so the dust doesn't get in her eyes. Here's Miffy. Come on, Miffy, back up. So Miffy gets hers first. Pharaoh's eyes are closed up again today. As I said, the vet's coming on Thursday. I have been bathing it, and it has, up until last night, looking much better. But, oh dear, poor girl. Her other one's all right, that's the main thing. I'll let her out. She's a bit hobbly first thing. And I bring her food through here. Miffy's still safely shut away. Come on. Put it on the yard. It needs to be far away from this fence, otherwise Miffy will end up eating it. And then that needs to be dampened rough. And then you can always go under her neck if you prefer, but I'll just tap her bottom so she knows I'm there. And then straighten up her rug. You could do that before leaving this table if you prefer. That wasn't really enough chaff, so I'm getting her some more. Hi, Miffy. You enjoying your breakfast, Miffy? I'll mix that in. Yeah, I don't make this sopping, I just make it damp so it doesn't blow dust. And then I usually put it in here for her, and she comes and eats that throughout the day. She comes and goes to the field, the gate's left open all the time. There's a, excuse me, Pharaoh. There's a sort of a wood chip track down there to make life a bit easier for her, which has really helped her. She doesn't slip as much now. If you have any trouble, you can call me if it's an emergency, or you know she needs the vet, call the vet. I've given the number to Charlotte. It's Tacklefield Brook. Her water bucket from the stables come out here. I've tied this gate up with an old lead rope so that she doesn't just decide to come in whenever she fancies it, when she thinks it's supper time. So she just hangs out in there all day. The gates, the door's always left open. She's got her chaff, she's got her feed, and if there's any food left in her evening bowls, the black or the blue, in the stable, then I put those out here for her as well, making sure that Miffy can't get them. Before Miffy comes out is a good time to muck out, so you don't have to fight with her about whether or not she's going to wash up the bowls. She ate all her food, which is great, although I did see on the monitor a little rat coming out and eating some of it, so he won't have any saw joints today. And she's eaten all that one too, so fabulous. That's good news. She's getting her appetite back. I've bung those over the fence ready to take in and make the suppers up for tonight. We muck out into this for Pharaoh. Right, so yeah, I was tidy Pharaoh's bed, so she's got a nice thickish level area to lay on. So she's actually got a bed. She's got a rubber mat under there, so it is thicker than it looks. And then I always shut the door because otherwise Miffy will be in there causing untold amounts of mischief. There we are. So Miffy can't get in there, and the light off. And then please make sure that this is always, the tack room is always secure, because all the food's in there, and Miffy will also go in there and cause untold amounts of mischief. And then I let her out. There, Miffy. There's a hook here. I don't know if my filming's very good. I apologise if it's not. Hook, and then I always put her bucket of water in front of it, because otherwise it just blows open. It blows closed rather, and she can't get in her shelter. And I mean, if the water's clean enough, just top it up, and if it's filthy, then change it. Thanks. And Pharaoh's water was disgusting because it was full of her old food from last night. So yeah, I'll just change that. I'm going to leave Miffy in this garden today because of the wind. She was running around like a nutter and bucking, and I was very worried because she was racing around the greenhouse, and I was worried that she was going to kick it and harm herself. So hopefully the wind will die down in the next couple of days and she can be allowed into the rest of the garden with the back gate firmly bolted. She has got hay in there. If you wanted to, you could always give her some fresh hay if you think she hasn't got enough, although usually she's got more than enough. If you do go through to get some hay in the day, please make sure that you shut the gate behind you, otherwise she'll come through, be down the field, and you'll have a right goose chase on your hands. Also, when you do leave her shut in here, this needs to be down properly, because she knows how to open it. She's a clever girl, very clever girl. Like so. So I forgot to do Miffy's stable. I had to come back. This is Miffy's stable already-ish for tonight. Bit of a mess, but she won't care. She's still eating her breakfast. She's quite protective over her food. She's all right with me, but she's quite protective with other people, so just beware of that. I've got her hay ready for tonight, which I'm going to take into the house so it's easier for you. You don't have to go into the hay shed tonight. And should you need head collars for either of them, Miffy's is this little tiny one, and there's a pale pink one, I think, in the with fluffy bits on in the tack room, probably to the right of the door. There's that one for Pharaoh, or that one. No, I'm not pointing the camera in the right direction. That one for Pharaoh, or that one. But we don't normally use head collars much. It's only for important, like events when the vet or whatever comes. So you probably won't need it. Fingers crossed. We plan to leave that gate tied up while we're away. I can't see if I'm pointing in the right direction because the lighting is terrible. This little gate, because we've put the cable for the camera on the other side of that gate. So I've just come to make the feeds for tonight. So I've got Pharaoh's supper. I'm going to try and reuse the bags for rubbish afterwards, so please don't rip them if you can help it. It's not the end of the world if you do. And then tonight, if you could put that's 1 sachet of butane, which is on the worktop, before you add the kettle and the pan of water, and mix it in really well. I won't put it in now because the dogs might come through and have a nibble. The hay care goes in the black bucket. So I'll put the hay care in the big black bucket. That's also got a little bit of chaff and the turmeric already mixed in. I mix it in really well, otherwise the chaff sits wet at the bottom. It turns out to be a lot more than it looks. And then Miffy's breakfast supper bowl is here. Just taking 1 bag out of the Miffy bags. That's for Miffy. I'd always leave these small bowls of food up on the freezer because otherwise Victor, the pussycat, might decide that they look a bit like a litter tray. I think it has happened once before. You can also chuck in a couple of these for Miffy if you want, or not. It's up to you. And Pharaoh can have these. I usually put 2 or 3 on top of her feed to tempt her. That's Miffy's hay for tonight. And Pharaoh's feeds are marked with the right amounts of thing. The only thing I haven't done, which I can't really do, is her purple bowl, which is in the end stable at the moment with her chaff in. You'll need to get that last thing and put a couple of scoops of this in, just so sort of, you know, I don't know, 2/3 full or something. She doesn't usually eat it all anyway, so it doesn't matter if you only half fill it. And then dampen it, and then that goes in the stable as well with her water. So hopefully everything's fairly straightforward. Sorry if I've overcomplicated it. I'll give you a view of the cat instead. Sorry if I've overcomplicated it or gone on too much. I just want to make sure I've covered everything. If you have any queries, feel free to call me. Charlotte's got my number, and it's probably WhatsApp is probably best, so you don't get charged too much for calling abroad, because WhatsApp will be free, won't it? So you can feel free to call me or text. No problem at all. Don't worry about, you know, I'd just rather you ask if you're not sure. And yeah, thank you very much for looking after them. I hope they're good for you, and I hope it's all trouble free.